I grew up in a family that didn't express emotions, and I was encouraged to be, analytical and logical. And as I've mentored couples, and I talked about my background and my own difficulty in recognizing emotions, particularly my own emotions, I've learned that there are many people out there that feel the same way, and they have difficulty with that. Yet when we don't talk about our emotions and our needs, we risk disconnection, and our relationships are not as deep and as satisfying as they could be. And as I've grown older, I've learned that expressing emotions is important just to my own mental health, and it's important to be able to share these emotions with my wife, and it's part of connecting. And I've thought long and hard about why I've been so uncomfortable with emotions. And as I've talked to other couples or other people, I've heard some of their reasons why they don't express emotions. So I've just listed 6 reasons why people don't express emotions. Reason number 1 is this belief that, you shouldn't have emotions, or at least you shouldn't have what would be considered negative emotions like anger or jealousy or stress or anxiety. In it, somehow those are not allowed. And I think I grew up a little bit like this. And the Bible says, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. So, we should be happy all the time, and we should be positive. And I kind of grew up believing that. And I thought, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But somehow that kind of becomes twisted. And so we don't talk about negative emotions. And we forget that in Ecclesiastes, it says there's a time to weep and a time to laugh, and that other emotions are okay to be able to express. Reason number 2 is this belief that you need to be rational. And I was recently sitting in a small group, and this came up, and there were more than one person that said, yes, you should just be rational. Emotions get in the way. Yet it's done oftentimes at the risk of suppressing your emotions, and you shove them down deeper, and your risk is that resentment builds up. And suddenly, if you've shoved your emotions down deep long enough, you either are depressed or you have this anger that's kind of boiling beneath the surface. So part of dealing with that is to not be afraid of your own emotions. And emotions are part of what make us people. Reason 3 is you fear a rejection or disapproval. And this sense of rejection or disapproval can be very deeply ingrained in people. And, it's a sense of, if I tell you what I'm really thinking, what I'm really feeling, then you're not going to approve of me and you're going to reject me. And it can be caused by a low self-esteem and the belief that people won't like you if you express yourself. And so it causes people to be constantly concerned with pleasing others. And then they're not very assertive. And in marriage, when we're not assertive, we're not expressing our feelings and needs. And it causes us to be, not listened to, and disconnection inside of our relationship. Reason 5 is this thinking of, well, you should know how I feel. And that my spouse should know how I feel. We should be that connected to each other. And so you make this assumption, and it's a trap that we fall into. And I've heard a number of couples express this, that, well, they should know how I feel, therefore I don't have to express it, or they should ask me. And the truth is that people just don't know how you feel. And so then you don't become assertive. And you need to be assertive and speak up about how you're feeling and what your needs are. And reason number 6 is you just don't know how. Maybe you grew up like me and you didn't learn to recognize emotions in other people, and so you'll need to work at it. And this is something that you can correct, and you can learn to recognize your own emotions and the emotions of others. So tips for mentors: get a feelings chart. It can help to get a sheet of paper with a bunch of feeling words on it. And the way that we use that with couples is we'll hand that to them and just say, does one of these words express how you feel? Or is one of these words express what you think you hear your partner say? So number 2 is to ask people, what are you feeling? And for some people, this is difficult and they really have a hard time. And so we'll pull out the feeling sheet and then use that. And then we ask people to listen to what feelings they hear from their spouse. And again, sometimes this is difficult for people, but practice makes perfect. And the more you do this and the more you listen to feelings, the more chance you have of being able to get it right and to be able to grow in this. And I have learned to do this. So those 3 tips again. 1, get a feelings chart. 2, ask people to express their emotions. And 3, ask them what they heard their spouse saying and what emotions were expressed.